All right, Bureau of Standards, effective date, August 19th, 2016, section number 4, version 1.2, procedure number 3, liquid petroleum gas bulk plant final inspection. Document detail the procedure for the final inspection of the liquid petroleum gas bulk plant facility per chapter 527 of the 0605 Florida State Law. The final inspection is required prior to the installer placing container in operation. Standard installation may aim at the bulk facility is covered in 527 of the Florida State Statute, Rule 5J20, Florida Administration Code, National Fire Protection Association 58, 2011 edition, adopted with the Rule 5J20002, Florida Administration Code. All detail of the observation are recorded with the inspection worksheet. Pre-inspection document review. Follow the procedure 1-2, approach and contact regarding the facility. 2-1-2, ask the manager and supervisor available to review the findings of the closest inspection. Note the issue incident. Dealer remote storage and consumer storage is not uncommon for no one to be on site. View available licenses, applicable license type of the cover, the scope of the operation. 132, available license shall be current. Note that the final inspection being conducted prior to the issuance for the new license. Final inspection is conducted with a non-licensed facility. Step would be eliminated. 1-4, verify the master qualifiers attached to the license. Confirm the master qualifier is employed with the location qualifier status and current with the confirm each of the additional qualifier listed as employed with the location qualifier status is current. Confirm the number of the employees involved with liquid transfer services of plant operation sales. 1431, verify one qualifier for each 10 employees assigned to be the license. The master qualifier counts as one. Review document training with the liquid transfer service plant and personnel. Documentation should include employee's position and description. Training will reflect the documentation training included, but the scope of the employee's job description. If the employees are employed for more than 3 years, confirm the refresher training minimum 3 years intervals. All training is documented. All training is documented. 154, confirmed training is documented in accordance with the Rule 5J20060, Florida Administration Codes. 16, review security awareness training plan. 17, where the installation consists of the aggregated water capacity for more than 4,000 gallons. The fire safety analyst is required. Review fire safety analysis. Ensure the document is prepared in accordance with the National Fire Protection Association 58.6.25.3. Review operation maintenance manual for the completion multi-container of the vapor series service only with an individual water capacity exceeding 1,200 gallons with a maximum of the aggregated 6,000 that manifold together exempt from this requirement. And 8.2, operating manual shall be prepared in accordance with the National Fire Protection Association 58.14.2.1. Alright, 183, maintenance manual shall be prepared and carried in accordance with the National Fire Protection Association 58.14.3.2. Maintenance fire protection equipment should be in accordance with the National Fire Protection Association 58.14.3.3. Plant security 2.0. Observe the emergency contact information prominently posted. Note signage must be made in the entrance of the business or entrance into the plant. 2.1, phone number is easily readable. 4-inch letter height minimum. Verify the entrance into the bulk facility is secure but is unintended. Verify the fencing minimum 6-foot fence with the 2 means of egress. For load riser and bulkheads must meet at least 3 feet from the means of egress. 3.0, plant yard. Each plant is required to have the minimum 18-pound BC with a radiated fire extinguisher that are located within 50 feet accessible at all points of the transfer. Note fire extinguishers having more than one letter classification with a B, C rating include their acceptable visual inspection fire extinguishers to ensure the fully charged. 3.12, verify the inspection tag of the annual inspection has been conducted. Look for the loose and piled combustible materials. Verify is not within 10 feet of the container in service. 3.3, observe the overhead power lines within 6 feet of the vertical plane of the containers and serve the verify the voltage does not exceed 600 volts. Note if the voltage cannot be confirmed, the visual and certification the license holder can typically obtain the confirmation from the servicing power company. 3.4, locating areas where the electrical equipment include the switches, the light fixtures, the outlets, and equipment installed. Confirm all electrical wiring and equipment for the classified areas are in compliance with the National Fire Protection Association 58.6.2.2. Observers the location of the container reference building, other installed with the container's property line with the line that confirm the distance for the complaint with the National Fire Protection Association 58.6.3.1, Table 6.3.1. If operation is normally conducted during evening hours, verify lighting is provided with the proper illuminating containers being loaded with control valves and other equipment. are containers. 4.1. Confirm the data plate is visible, legible, attached directly to the container. Note that the data plate is typically attached to the end of the container or on the top of the container where the area container imprudencies are located. 4.2. Visually inspect the data plate with the confirm the information reflected with the clearly legible. Verify the container is fixed with a maximum liquid level of gauge device. Complaint with the National Fire Protection Association 58575. Visually inspect the confirm that containers output openings are fitted with the internal valves and flow control compliant with the National Fire Protection Association 5855742. For containers over 4,000 gallons, verify that the container is fitted with the pressure for the temperature gauge. Inspect the internal liquid valves to verify the equipment with the following. Interval valves are interfiled in accordance with the National Fire Protection Association 5855742, Table 5742. Automatic shutdown internal valve liquid service provided use of thermal fire actuation. Thermal sensing element internal value is within 5 feet of the internal valve. A remote shutdown station is installed no less than 25 feet, more than 100 feet from liquid transfer point. Remote shutdown station is identified with the sign visible with the point of transfer. The verbiage of the signage incorporates the word propane contained liquid valve and the emergency shut off with less than at least 2 black letters with a contrasting background. Test the internal valve of the operation where the valve's open position operations begin conducted. Test the valve for operation remote shutdown for the station following the instruction close the valve. No valve should begin within the closing of 1 minute. Multiple container valves are open with the first valve closed. The remaining valves will close with a domino type effect. Leave the valve in closed position. 4.6 inspection of shutoff valves. Observe the location of shutoff valves and ensure that they are closer to the practical container with the combination flow controls. Verify the shutoff valves are accessible with the normal emergency operation. Note with the valves not fitted with the remote closure are 6 feet greater than from the ground level. The extension handles, ladders, and stairs platforms may be used to access the valve. Must be on a location set up and render the valves accessible. 4.7. The inspection container relief valves. Confirm the start to leak pressure of the relieving capacity of the SCFM air manufacturer's name and the catalog number. Confirm the rain caps are in place. Verify the valves are unobstructed, directed upward and into the atmosphere. Visually inspect the drains open to confirm that they are clearly directed away from the adjacent containers, piping, and other equipment. Visually inspect the discharging where utilized to confirm they comply with the National Fire Protection Association 5867214. Visually inspect the container surface with the ensure that improperly painted light reflective coating does not show the sign of the corrosion, pitting, or the other shell damage which may compromise the integrity of the container wall. If the pitting is observed, measure for the comparing pit for the thickness listed on the tank data plate with a note of the inspection worksheet. Visually inspect the welds of the container for the corrosion, pitting, and other damage if it may compromise the integrity of the wall. 4.10. Visually inspect the container legs or foot rings damaged with little effect with the ability to secure the support with the container in full capacity of the position in which it is designed to be installed. With the inspection of the area of the container shall include observation of corrosion with as effect with the integrity of the support, damage of the wells, connection with the support with the container, visual damage with that, which have been changed with the configuration with the design with the support where attached to the containers as such as bent and flattened supports. 4.11. If the container is placed on the scale of the concrete slab of the other support that are in contact with the container shell, visual inspection with the container surface of support with the damaged effects. Inspection area of the container shall include if the container support with the construction material of the support shall be inspected with the brush of the corrosion with the other damage will affect with the ability to securely support with the container with the full capacity of the container support with the constructed concrete with the support shall be inspected with the cracked chips, deterioration, other damage that will affect with the ability of the securely support with the container with the full capacity. Visually inspect the pipe pads and coating with the masonry saddles to ensure that there is no deterioration either. Or 4.11.4. Visually inspect the container strip of the area with the contact support with the brush or corrosion. No, the Association Society of Mechanical Engineers and dot cylinders are constructed with a steel more suspect of the brush and corrosion container strip that must in contact with the concrete saddle. Therefore, protective coating and saddle coating and padding is required for the section of the container. Must contain the method of protection of the padding. Over time, the padding will deteriorate. The combination of air, moisture, and contact area ultimately will result in the corrosion of it, which is not always readily visible. And then it shows you 5.0, the type of the piping system. Piping tubing valve shall be steel, brass, copper, malleable duct iron. Cast iron may be used. Resin filter material melting point exceeds 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Minimum surface pressure rating of the table 1. Table 2, that's table 2. And shows surface higher container pressure 350 gallons. 350 psi liquid petroleum gas vapor operating pressure below container pressure 250 psi gauge liquid petroleum gas vapor operating in a 125 psi gauge MPAG 125 psi gauge. Verifying pipe installed that meets the requirement rating of the Table 2. Service to Schedule 40 and Schedule 80. Liquid welded brazes, threaded welded and brazed. Vapor greater than or equal to 125 psi gauge. Threaded welded brazed or thread welded brazed. Vapor greater than 125 psi gauge welded and brazed. Thread welded and brazed. Verified piping installed with the allowed with the expansion contraction verified during variation settling. If hose and flex connectors they should comply with the National Fire Protection Association 58596 specification. Flexible metal containers shall not exceed 5 feet in overall length when used in liquid vaping piping stationary container 2,000 gallons or less. Flexible metallic containers are used to prevent excessive straining of the pump. The verified flexible containers do not exceed 36 inches of the length. Visual inspection the observation, rust, or corrosion damage will affect the integrity of the piping system. 561. If the piping support is installed with inspection with the corrosion pipe that is in the contact support, verify the above ground support with protected against vehicle or damage. Inspect the pipe with the color coding compliant with the Rule 5J20025 Florida Administration Code. Color coding within 30 inches of each side of the shut-off valve. Liquid valves red, vapor valves yellow, water valves blue. Inspection piping leakage according to the departments of the depth of the procedure. For the detection links, verify the hydrostatic relief of the installed liquid line. Hose of the liquid that can be insulated with the line with the chain shutoff valves. Hydrostatic relief valves are designed to install the relief pressure they could develop the from trapped liquid. 510.1. Conform with the rate of the hydrostatic relief valve and complying with the National Fire Protection Association 58.513. 511. Visually inspect strainers installed with the verified allow the removal of the strainer element without removing the equipment of the piping. Verify insulation compressor from the National Fire Protection Association 58.617.3. Visually inspect pump installation. Confirm the install of the non-subject of the pump assembly with excessive strains transmitted by the tube and by suction discharge piping. 513.2. Verify flexible metal connectors using the application did not exceed 36 inches over length. Verify the pump operating control switch is located near the pump. R6.0 liquid transfer area. The bulk truck and transfer inspect bulkhead inspection. Ensure that the emergency shut-off valve or the backflow check valve are installed with the fixing pipe of the break resulting from a pull away will occur with the hose or swivel type piping inspection connection, leaving the valves piping on the plant connections intact. Verify the emergency shut-off valve and install with the transfer line. Fixed piping transfer shall be 20 feet from the lineal pipe from the nearest end of the hose and swivel type pipe connection. Inspect the emergency shut-off valves with the remote actuators following the valves are clearly identified. Remote actuators successfully located 25 feet of the maximum, 100 feet of the bath of the egress for the valve are not operated within 40 use of propane. Verify the temperature sensitive elements used to actuate the valve in case of an emergency. When a supplemental temperature sensing element is used, the no part of the valve verify that meets the following condition. Operates a maximum temperature of 250 degrees. Connected with the valve within 5 feet of the nearest hose end of the swivel type of the piping. Connected with the line with receipt the valve is installed, but the element is not paint coated with any of the finish of the after manufacturer. Inspect the emergency shutoff valve, the pneumatic operation, check for the force and operable emergency shutoff valves. Note that the object of the mechanism placed in the forcible hole of the emergency shutoff valve open position, which would have them manually remove the emergency shutoff valve. 6.4 inspection hose. Verify approval of the application per 95 per National Fire Protection Association 58.596. Inspect hoses assembly following the damage of the outer cover for the exposed reinforcement kinked or flattened hoses, soft spots, bulges of the hose coupling with the slip of the house of the damaged missing parts or loose bolts. Whether they are leakage other than permeable leakage, verify electrical equipment and switches classified and or in compliance with the National Fire Protection Association 5622. Confirm containers in storage other than those awaiting the refill with a minimum of 10 feet from the point of transfer. Alright, your cylinder dock. The transfer operation filling cylinders connect the separate building instruction. Verify the compliance with the National Fire Protection Association 58.10.2. Spec hose in section 6.4. Scales. Check the scales and ensure the balance is 0. Verify the scales are permitted. Check fire extinguisher in section 3.1. Verify electrical equipment and switches were classified in an area and compliant with the National Fire Protection Association 58.622. Rail risers. Inspect hoses 6.4. Visual inspection emergency shutoff valve of the railroad tanker car transfer system. Verify the emergency shutoff valve and install the railroad tanker end of the hose of the swivel type pipings where the flow in and out of the tanker car is possible. Verify the emergency shuttle valve backflow check valves installed on the tank car and over the hose and swivel pipe when the flow is only into the railroad tanker car. Inspect the quick connection for the damage. Inspect all valves with the operating sign of the damage or leak. Note check for the leak in accordance with the department's accordance with the procedure for the detection of a leak. Inspect piping on purpose section 5. Procedure verify location according with the railroad check blocks track signage. Note if the rail car is on site, check blocks and signage must be in place. Verify compressor with electrical switch with the classified area with the compliant with the NASFAR fiber to Solution 58622. And it is your change of control changes. And this was liquid petroleum gas bulk plant final inspection. Testing.